Welcome to Meaningful Mornings for the 925th time. For 3 years. Wherever there is change, there's going to be challenges. Do you acknowledge this? Change in weather, change in economy, change in body. There are going to be challenges. When we have a challenge, but no purpose, that challenge devolves to become a problem. When we have a challenge and we have a purpose, that challenge evolves to become training. Purpose decides if what you're experiencing is a problem or training. Waking up in the morning, a problem or training? It is purpose that's facilitating this for us. For 925 mornings for 3 years, Meaningful Mornings has been exposing purpose to us by relating different maps to us. In 2020, the maps that we read were about making sense of stress, the purpose of yoga, and tips for happy living. How many of you remember this? Meaningful Mornings in 2020. In 2021, the maps that we explored were an introduction to the Mahabharata. We invested 18 days into this, and then we flowed all the way to the completion of chapter 4. How many of you were part of this? In 2022, the maps that we related to were Bhagavad Gita's chapter 5 to 10. How many of you were there for this? I don't just mean physically, I mean mentally you were there. Physically, I know you're here. For 925 days, for 3 years, we've been relating to maps for the sake of purpose. Then we don't have any problems in life. For those who are mentally present, then you have no problems in life. How we have seen this. We are a community, and we're coming to unity. We're doing this physically the way that we're all looking at each other right now. See how much unity there is right now. But as I've been traveling, I've been interacting with you, and so many of you have been sharing how your day is oriented towards Meaningful Mornings. One seeker recently told me in the morning, she takes her dog for a walk and she listens to Meaningful Mornings, which means the dog does too. And then they come back and the dog eats breakfast and she takes notes. That's awesome how her whole day is coming to unity. Different species are coming to unity. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 9th skanda, before Sri Krishna is born, the rishis are stating why Sri Krishna will manifest. And the simple one-word answer is anugraha. In English, this is typically translated as grace. He is just born to grace beings, to bless them. Another way to relate to this is love. Why did Sri Krishna manifest? Because he loves us. And I'd shared with all of you yesterday, what is the gauge of a successful caregiver? A great-grandparent, a grandparent, a parent, a sibling, a cousin, a teacher, a physician, it doesn't matter who. The gauge of success is those you're caring for love the trust triangle more. More of the trust triangle is occupying more of the space in their heart. Why is this a gauge of success? Because the love for the trust triangle is most transforming. Think about you. You love your sister compared to you love Bhagavad Gita. Which has changed you more? This is most transforming. It is most lasting. We pay more for that which lasts longer, correct? Cars, building materials. Can you relate to the same in reference to love? To invoke this love, we need a reference, and that is our guide. Our guide is the Bhakta. Who is a Bhakta? One who has dedicated their life, every pore of theirs, to the trust triangle. They have invoked this in themselves. They're able to evoke this in us. If we are able to invoke this in us, we will be able to evoke this in those we care for. Why Sri Krishna? Love. What is Meaningful Mornings? It is training in loving, especially in chapter 11. The theme of chapter 11 is presence. This is a perfect connection from chapter 10. Chapter 10, Vibhuti. Chapter 11, Yoga. Another word for yoga is unity. What's our community? Coming to unity, coming to yoga, coming to presence. And another word for the unity is oneness. In the final verse of this chapter, this is a life verse. If you want a life coach, that's verse 55. And this life coach doesn't have any ego. This life coach is taking down our ego. Shri Krishna shares, Mam eti. Eti means to come, to Mam, to me. Mam eti means to be me. Presence, yoga, unity, oneness. Eti means to come. Another way to think of eti is eka. Eka means oneness. And yesterday I shared the etymology. I'll share it again. Eti gacchati sarvatra. Eti comes, goes, moves. Gacchati, there's a movement involved. Sarvatra, all. Oneness is that which goes to all. Oneness is that which is in all. So the word eti, we can treat it so casually, like a random verb, but it's directly connected to oneness. Now, zooming into this more practically, eti is a lovely word. Share with me in the chat, what is possibly the most lovely word of chapter 11? Stane. Good. When one understands and sees, when one feels that Sri Krishna has gone everywhere, that's chapter 10. When everywhere has gone to Sri Krishna, that's chapter 11. Then one starts to feel stane, or acceptance. Our youth have an anger problem. Our youth, those kids, this generation, we have an anger problem. But with stane, which is acceptance, that's the antidote to anger. In meaningful mornings, we are being guided, we are being trained, we are being supported in acceptance. Do you understand the utility of this? One will be less attached, less annoyed, less angry. We think so much and we give so much to dealing with stress. This is making sense of stress, but in more beautiful language. To be completely clear, how can one be Sri Krishna? How can one feel this oneness? I'm going backwards in this verse now. Yesterday we went forwards. Now I'm going backwards. Our fifth practice, Nirvaira Sarva Bhuteshu, which means not to dislike any being. A way that this can be more real for us, if you like a being, automatically there will be beings you dislike. But what if you love beings? That's past their name and their form. Meaningful Mornings is to challenge us to grow out of likes by growing into love. Love is when you are with someone, when you're with any entity, but you're not trying to extract from them. If I'm with you, but I have an agenda, that's not love then. When Rani Keikei had come to Sri Rama in the jungle, he was the first one to meet her. Even though he was in the jungle because of her, he was the first one to go meet her, even before his own biological mother. He loved all beings. Practice 4, Sangha Varjitaha, which means to be detached, to be independent. Specifically, attachment in Sanskrit is asakti. Do you remember the etymology of this? Sakiness. Means come. Come, poorness in my life, problems in my life. But what if you have asakti to bhakti? What if your attachment is to dedication? Then what happens to that asakti? It becomes asakti, which means independence. That virtue is coming in chapter 13 and giving you a visual for this. The gopis, they had intense desire. For what or whom? The one who was desireless, our Sri Krishna. So what happened to their intense desire? It was transcended. Practice 3, Madbhaktaha, which means to love Sri Krishna, period. This is the bhava, this is the feeling with which one should live. Shri Krishna says in practice 2, Mat Parama, that is to love the ends. Practice 3 is about abhava, practice 2 is about jnana. To be clear about the ends of your life. And practice 1, Mat Karma, to love the means. That's from the narrative of karma. I've been teaching our children, and recently a new seeker came. She was asking me questions about what is arti? What do you do with this candle? And I shared with her, you take this light and you bring it to your heart. Madbhaktaha. And then from there, it will spread. You go like this, and then you go like this. You squeeze, and you touch your head also. It spreads to your head and to your hands. Giving you another detail about practice 3, which is to love Sri Krishna. In the Ramayana, in Bhagavatam, there are not 4 purposes to life, there are 5. What is the 5th Purushartha? Bhakti. What did I say love was? Where you're not trying to extract. You don't love for a reason. You love for the sake of love. That's why bhakti is even more elevated than moksha. Matparamaha, to see that Sri Krishna is the end. An earlier word used is sudurdarsham. When we are busy, it is difficult to see the ends. We're just tending to the functionality. And that's why Sri Krishna is sharing in the end of this chapter, this is what one should invest in. And matkarma, again, practice 1. More important than actions is the attitude. Why are you doing what you are doing? Verse 55 is complete. We continue to our Sankalpa Vakya. This is us affirming outside and inside that we will follow what Sri Krishna is and has taught. Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishnarjuna Samvade Vishwarupa Darshana Yogo Nama Ekadashodhyayaha. I've explained this 10 times already, and I mean that factually. Om is infinity as a sound symbol. Tat is symbolic of this chapter. Om is a sound symbol for infinity, so is this chapter. And Sat, this will lead us to infinity. Om leads us to infinity. What has been shared will lead us to infinity also. I think it's in Toy Story where Buzz Lightyear says to infinity and beyond. There's no beyond. It's just to infinity. That was copied from Om Tat Sat. And I was referencing the Mandalorian, correct? They keep sharing this is the way. That's also Om Tat Sat. This is the way. Bhagavad Gita should be so rich. So many royalties are owed to Bhagavad Gita. From inspiration to application. Your application was to prepare for our party. Now, many are thinking, what are we going to do in our party? Should we dress up? Is Vivekji going to send us food? Your party is your transformation. Lots of you have shared what meaningful mornings, what Bhagavad Gita has meant to you. We're going to screen share one preparation. This is from a seeker who had shared what he sees every morning is the trust triangle. And I thought this is a really practical expression of 925 days, 3 years. Your application for today leading to tomorrow. Today's the end of winter. though physically it doesn't feel like that at all. Feel that inside. Tomorrow is the first day of spring, so spring in your attitude towards your life. How? There's 925 days of content, but if you've forgotten all of that, at least verse 55 of chapter 11. I authentically and deeply pray to Bhagavan Krishna to continue to grace us with steadiness and sincerity, with strength to be his. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene. Be Krishna.